Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us at the MarketSite studio, we have Eric Pulier. He's the CEO of Vatim. We're going to discuss what CEOs and business leaders need to know about Web3. Clearly a hot topic. Eric, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks. Let's talk about the metaverse and Web3. How are they different, and why does this difference matter to companies?
Sure, it matters a lot. Well, first of all, Web3 is different than the metaverse. Web3 is a kind of overriding term that denotes the next generation of the World Wide Web, where we move to a more decentralized format. So traditionally, everything has a central owner in how the web has developed. In a decentralized web, which is really brought on by the advent of blockchain, there's no one owner or one place where everything exists. And so the metaverse leverages this technology to kind of create a more seamless interaction between our physical and digital lives, to create a 3D web, a place where we're all going to be able to run into each other and create different types of social experiences. Where
does Vatim fit in the Web3 ecosystem?
Well, what Vatim's done is you might think of it as a Web3 operating system. So think of like Shopify. In the Web2 world, it was highly complex to build a store, right? You had many things, inventory, ways of doing credit cards, et cetera. By the time you assembled it, there's a lot under the hood. What Shopify did was they made it really simple. One button, and you have something that can scale infinitely. Similarly, when we move to Web3 and metaverse type applications, there's a lot of complexity. Complexity not only to build something, but complexity to use it as an end user. So what Vatim's done is put all that complexity under the hood and allow you with one button to fire up your own metaverse, fire up your own Web3 wallet, and then create a new direct-to-consumer channel.
You know, when we think about blockchain, NFTs and crypto kind of always gets the headlines, and of course we went through a lot of volatility this year. Would you compare that to what happened with dotcom in the early 2000s?
I actually would. I think it's a brilliant analogy because it's so directly on target. If you recall what happened in, say, 2000 to 2003, there was a complete shift where all this excitement about the web gave way to this, what they call trough of disillusionment, where Pets.com didn't work, therefore everybody said, I told you so, right? It's not going to happen, right? So therefore the web's not going to work, right? Well, of course, what happens in an early stage technology where that has vast implications across society, people are going to get excited. And then a lot of folks rush in, a lot of get-rich-quick schemes, a lot of things that will or will not work, and a lot of learning. And then there's an inevitable crash. And what happened here is exactly the same analogy. But what's happening in the wake of this is the substance of what is actually going to affect every sector is now emerging from that I would say shift in the view that we have of what it's good for. And it's good for a lot more than people thought.
How are companies currently generating value through Web3?
So I think the most important thing to remember about what Web3 means to companies is this ability to create a direct relationship to the end consumer. Right now, if I wanted to reach you, for instance, I'd have to go and hire Facebook or go to a retail establishment and find all these different mechanisms to find you. And that data might be bought surreptitiously without your knowledge. So we move to Web3, everyone's going to have their own wallet, and they're going to have their own identity and their ability to control that. And it's going to move to what we call zero-party data. I would recommend everybody kind of familiarizing themselves with that, but it's the way that you willingly give your data in exchange for value. And what's going to happen with the Web3 wallet is every organization on the planet is going to have an opportunity to make a value-based relationship with an end consumer, and then use that to create a relationship over time.
And that's what's so interesting, how the data landscape is going to change, because this is going to totally upend how we view big data these days. So let's talk about that. What trends are currently shaping Web3?
I think what's really shaping it is that there's this shift from this notion of advertising from being something like, let's try to get your attention and really basically use mechanisms that have become annoying and noise, to something that's more like, well, let's give you something. Let's actually offer you something that is of value and then earn that every single day. Advertising, marketing, and loyalty are collapsing into one thing, which is a dialogue, a relationship that actually you earn every day. And that Web3 wallet is emerging as the key to it.
What should investors understand about Web3?
I think what investors should understand is that as Web 1, which was really static pages on the web, arrived, and then gave way to Web 2, which was much more about user-generated content and the types of commerce and AI that was driven by that. As we move to Web 3, it's no less impactful then that aha moment you had, remember when that light bulb went off and you're like, oh, I get it. This is actually going to change a lot about how society works, healthcare, education, government. This next step change adds people, places, and things to the internet as we know it. The internet is an information topology. When you make this shift, it's going to have enormous impact on your business. So what investors should recognize is that even though there's a downturn, don't look at it as a speculative opportunity. Look at it as a shift in how technology is going to apply to every aspect of society.
I feel like those epiphany moments really started to happen this year when you kind of, the outliers were faded out. It wasn't just about the value of cryptocurrencies going up and down, but really focusing on the technology and driving it forward. So let's wrap up with Vatim specifically.
Yeah.
What are you doing to drive the future forward for Web3?
I think what we're doing is we're making it accessible to the end user. Right now, if you were to go into a concert and you're going to say, I'm giving $1 million away to whoever can sign up to this wallet and take it, you're not going to get many, you're going to own that $1 million at the end of the concert, right? Because the complexity is just not in the shape where the average consumer has the time, energy, or interest to adopt it. What we're doing is making it for the masses. We're making the metaverse and Web3 technologies accessible to everyone, as simple as scanning a QR code or clicking a link. You're engaging, and you're developing those relationships that are going to take you to the next level, the next generation of the internet.
Yep, it's going to be super exciting. Appreciate the insight, Eric. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thanks for having me.